Hi, welcome everybody to today's webinar. We're just going to wait a couple of minutes so everyone can log in. Okay, we'll get started. Welcome to today's webinar of call reception solutions, add value to your UC deals. My name's Kate Maddock. I'm the marketing manager here at Enghouse in Reading. Any questions that we'll be having, by the way, can we have that at the end of the session? The session will be around 45 minutes, and then we'll have around 10 to 15 minutes for the questions at the end. The panel where you would enter your questions is the chat bar at the bottom left-hand corner, and then we'll be able to answer all them afterwards. So today's webinar is, as I just said, Call Reception Solutions, and this is going to be presented and hosted by Rupert Adair, who's the Global Product Development Director, and I'll pass over to him.
Thank you very much, Kate. Can you hear me okay? Are we good? Good morning, everybody. Thanks for taking the time out to join this webinar. Hopefully this will be useful and informative. And as Kate says, please ask any questions and we'll do our best either to answer them on the way through if I'm feeling brave, or at the end if not, depending on how complex the question is. We'll also be providing a recording of this available online after the event as well. So this the topic of this session today is to do with call reception, and specifically attendant console solutions available to you on Cisco Unified Communications Manager. We're talking about call reception because, strictly speaking, this is about consoles and their relative products, and so we're going to kind of steer away a little bit from consoles into the less formal world of call reception as well, because there is opportunity for you with your partners, with your customers, to sell a variety of options, and that's what the session aims to try to cover. So my name is Rupert Adair. You can see my contact details at the bottom of the screen, or as I say, use the question bar via GoToMeeting. So the basis of requiring an attendant console solution, or indeed any call reception, is that almost any business needs to be able to greet external incoming callers in a really professional, memorable, and in a way that is excellent in terms of providing a white glove treatment. Now, you might think, well, that's a contact center, but actually that is most definitely not the case, and there's significant evidence to suggest that almost all business needs some kind of attendant console solution where there's an unstructured type of inbound type of engagement. And so anyone needing to ask a generic question, ask for transfer, of course that's the obvious requirement, to be transferred to another person, but actually that's only a subset of the actual functions of a call reception person or function. There are also some somewhat more complex and involved functions that role will involve, and so attendant console and related software allows organizations to be able to provide that. So the reason that is important is because the contact center deals with the secondary structured, kind of predictable types of engagement, but those attendant console solutions, that call reception solution, is typically a catch-all for all of the other unstructured, unpredictable, unknown and unforeseen types of interaction, and very often they can be very high value to businesses. And that's why we call attendant consoles the front door to your business. So just before we jump into product and positioning, I'm just going to hand back to Kate and just have her spend a little bit of time on a campaign that we're running that might be of interest to you.
Thanks, Rupert. So we've got an exciting case study campaign coming up. It'll be going live next week, and it's really about case studies. We're looking for them, we want them, and it'd be great to hear what our customers and really how they love Enghouse and ARC. So the incentive program itself is a very, very easy campaign to do, and basically you're earning money in Amazon vouchers, and all we need, it really is a customer that you have that would have interest in doing this with us, and the information around the product, the solution, and the company itself, and then we will get that set up with you and work with you in a very fast way, and there you go. So let's get cracking, and that will be live next week, so we can really get some more of those. And just the process is very quick, and it'll all be online, and that'll be sent next week. Back to you, Rupert.
Thanks, Kate. And just to be clear, that's to do with the ARC Pro product that we're going to be spending time on today. So that's the ARC branded products that we're going to be talking about. The reason I say that is because we're going to be talking about the product in the context of some other products that are available to you as part of the portfolio today, to give you some context on the overall solutions available. So this campaign is about ARC Pro, and that's where you'll be able to earn those Amazon vouchers. So just very quickly, let's have a look at the high-level overview of that portfolio I was just getting at. And this is important because you will see value in being able to sell any one or more than one of the solutions available to you from ARC and Cisco. Now, many of you will be aware that ARC is the developer of some Cisco branded products that are available to you as well. Those products have been designed to be a commoditized product distributed around the world in an easy-to-consume form, and they certainly do that job well. And we'll have a very quick look at both of those products, and they are the Cisco Unified Attendant Console Standard, which is a simple desktop product, and then the Cisco Unified Attendant Console Advanced, which is a slightly more sophisticated server client-based product. And there is a place for these products, many opportunities, and what we'll try and help you understand is where those products are a good fit and where you might want to look further afield and be more consultative in your approach and look at selling some of the ARC branded solutions which are closely related to those Cisco products. So this chart is an indication of the scalability and the sophistication and the flexibility of the products, where the ARC product, as you can see, offers you the greatest capabilities. That's not to say that it's a complicated solution. Sophisticated, yes, but equally easy to install as the standard product at the lower end of the table. And we'll look at that level of detail too. Just a quick high-level overview of the portfolio available to you on ARC, and I'm not going to step through each of these because we do have some quick look-sees, if you like, on each of these areas of the product, but suffice to say that there is significant flexibility in being able to sell a very simple or indeed a very comprehensive solution using the ARC Pro server platform, and that allows you to fit the requirement around many types of customer. ARC is sold in very simple deployments, but it's also sold in extremely sophisticated, large-scale multinational organizations too, and we'll give you a flavor of how that product can support that type of requirement for you very capably. So let's take a quick look at the product at the lowest end of the pyramid. Lowest in terms of simplicity, but in fact, a very capable product. This is the Cisco Unified Attendant Console Standard product, which is a self-install desktop product that you would download just as you would any typical Windows application. It doesn't need your IT guy to come in and install it. You will need some information about your call manager network, but once you've got the license for the software, you can install it, and it gives you simple desktop call control, transfer, conference and park. And it's ideal for an informal call handling role on a desktop basis. Quick look of what it looks like. There you go. Nice, clean and simple user interface, mouse controlled or indeed touchscreen if you wanted to use it, with a directory that is pulled from the Cisco Unified Communications Manager. So that's a great solution for a very simple desktop requirement. As I say, easy to install, easy to get going. Let's take a look at the advanced product, which is its big brother, if you like, and here we look at the ability to deploy the solution based on a server which then serves a number of clients, and it has significant uplift of capabilities in terms of being able to deliver calls, prioritize, it has greater scalability. You can have greater connectivity options, so the directory can be pulled from more than one source than Cisco Call Manager, and of course associated with that as a higher price per seat. And again, information on that product can be available via Cisco, so that's a Cisco branded product. Now, this product has been designed to be distributed around the world as a capable, downloadable solution that requires trained engineers to be able to deploy it, but that level of training is not significant. Quick look at the product. This is a standard user interface, just some pop-ups here, taking a quick look at what each area of the screen does. So you have a good degree of flexibility here in terms of inbound call routes, so the ability to bring in calls from different sites or locations or campuses or regions or number matches, for example. You have the ability to pull a directory and customize that directory and add presence to it, so Cisco Jabber presence, for example, or Cisco phone presence. And you can, of course, have up to 50 of these clients running from one server. So a capable solution with a degree of flexibility that allows you to perform inbound call handling for a typical organization. It also has a web-based admin page that allows you to administer that solution to cover things like licensing and queues, directory sources, and so on. So that's the advanced product, and as you can see, that looks completely different to the standalone standard product. And the Cisco Unified Attendant Console advanced product, in fact, is a baby brother, if you like, a subset of the Arc Pro product, which is developed from a similar code base. And so the Arc Pro product offers the next step up in flexibility and options for you to be able to sell around your customer requirements. And in terms of being able to support different types of business, different types of workflow, and to allow you to build the solution around the way the customer works rather than have the customer adapt to the way the software works, the Arc Pro solution is going to give you the greatest capability. Now, it is a more scalable product, but it has, most importantly, much more flexibility in terms of what the user sees and what you can connect to. So sure, it has much greater scalability, but I think that the key part is what's available to you, to the user. So let's start to take a quick look at that. So here's that schematic again, just taking a very quick look. The server core is able to connect to a number of different types of clients. That's the green section. We're going to have a quick look at those. We have a number of capabilities in terms of plugging in presence to the directory in the system. So that's Cisco Jabber, Microsoft, as well as the Cisco phone devices. We have significant capabilities in directory. Now, as we'll try to show you, the directory is the most important part of any call reception solution, and unlike a contact center, you need a rich and up-to-date and accurate directory in order for any inbound call reception to be effective, because of course one inaccurate database record means one inaccurate, misdirected and upset caller. So it is as simple as that. You need rich and correct data. There are a number of other technical capabilities which we'll touch upon a bit later on in terms of the types of deployment you can look at. We're talking about multi-cluster, that kind of thing. And then looking to the right-hand side of the solution, there's some other value-add solutions. So the ability to message mobile phones, the ability to plug in our call recording solution, and to integrate with third parties. So you can see that these options are fairly rich, fairly comprehensive, and by the way, very well documented as well. So we've been doing this for some time. This is a mature and well-established and high-quality product. So we're very proud of the support performance of this product out in the field. So quick look at the Arc Pro client. Now this is a bit of a busy screen, but we've turned everything on really just to kind of make a point. But you'll see that there's the significant more flexibility, if you like, in terms of cosmetics and aesthetics and layout. You'll notice that there are a few more additional areas on the screen compared to the Cisco Unified Attendant Console Advanced product, and that's because you have this ability to turn on these additional panels, these additional pieces of features and functionality to fit different customer needs. Now, by the way, the reason we did this is because this product is typically sold via our good people in our sales team, via our channel management and our pre-sales, who will work with you to understand the customer requirement to fit the software around that, and that allows us to offer these abilities, these extra capabilities much more confidently. I think when you consider that we're distributing a product with a Cisco badge on it, we needed to make sure that we didn't confuse customers or partners, because we weren't able to support them as we do as Enghouse and ARC via our channel partners. And so the Cisco branded products are much more commoditized and fixed in their features and functionality to make sure that people have a reliable support experience and are not confused by too many options. With the ability for us to customize the ARC Pro solution, we can build the solution around different customer requirements and hence increase the value of the opportunity and essentially the sale to you, our partners. So again, some quick pop-ups there, just highlighting what each area of the screen covers. A number of call-outs there that we could pick up on, but there's significant additional capability within that user experience there to customize, to build, to morph. Now, you might think that there's rather a lot going on, and hey, I don't need all of that stuff for my typical customer, and you'd be quite right. Typical customers are not going to need all of that functionality, but they might, and I can think of a couple of examples where in fact quite the opposite is the case, and we turn everything off and we provide a very simple client at a lower price for a more simple desktop type user, and that's supported as well from our solution. And here's how you do that. The installation of ARC is extremely quick. In fact, we have a wizard that allows you to, as an engineer, set up everything from what database you're going to pull the contact directory from, and that might be Microsoft Active Directory, it might be Cisco Unified Communications Manager, or it might be another source of data. For example, companies like Estos provide a connector that we can utilize, and we can then set up the database sources, the queues, the operators, the agents, and we'll talk about agents in a minute. I'm sure that those of you working in contact centers will recognize the phrase, so we'll talk about the use of the word agents. We can even set up the server model, so you can have a primary and a backup server using this wizard. But most importantly, from there you can also choose whether or not you want to have a very simple or a very sophisticated, powerful end user experience. And so there's some very small screenshots there. We're going to just step through each of those now in terms of whether you deploy a help desk agent, a simple team or light user, a standard user that we just saw, or a full power user that might be on a dual screen in a high-powered inbound operator center taking very large numbers of calls, for example. So that wizard allows you to set up a typical ARC system in about 90 minutes, provided you've got all of the information about the database sources and call manager and so on and so forth. So it's extremely quick, and you can go live very quickly as long as you do have that information at hand. Just very quickly, the directory piece, we talked about what's at the heart of this system, and again, remember that the Cisco Unified Attendant Console advanced product is closely related to this, so some of this functionality is also relevant to that product too. But just looking at ARC specifically in terms of scalability and capability, you can see that it is highly scalable. So when we talk about 175,000 entries, we're talking about a console solution or a call reception solution handling a business with that many employees in its directory, and the associated presence, alternative numbers, custom fields, job status, all of the different information you may store against that person. And it may be that you're pulling that information from a standard source such as Active Directory, or you're maybe pulling it from a combination of things such as payroll, Active Directory, and some kind of legacy database. And just on that topic, we have many, many years of working high value to the customer database integration and meta-directory solutions, where we combine a number of database sources to provide this live, up-to-date source of data that is so essential for an attendant or a call reception solution to work from. It is essential. We have to have every record up to date, preferably nightly or even more often, perhaps a live sync, so that we can see live status and we can transfer callers accurately and immediately. And so we have worked using our advanced services team to provide some fantastic database migration, consolidation, cleansing and integration solutions with all kinds of different businesses from finance through to pharmaceutical. So yeah, we have this publisher subscriber model, call a message bus for the technical people amongst you, talking between those two servers, that provides a very high availability and a very high reliability connection, as well as reporting in failover mode as well. So the capabilities of that directory, as I think we mentioned before, include connections to various third parties such as the Outlook, the Exchange, Microsoft Lync or Skype for Business, and so on and so forth. We have a good deal of capability there to enrich that database with various feeds. Quick look at a capability called personal directory groups. We have the ability for each individual operator or user to create their own dynamic groups based on the data that they've logged in to be able to see, and they can be shared. And so you can see the example there where there's a hospital group being linked together, and the users can choose to be that in a hospital you have one tab that is for general staff, one for maintenance staff, one for consultants, and each of the layouts and the information stored against those people may be different, because of course their roles and their functions are different in the organization. So this starts to give you an idea of how important that data is for anybody managing interactions between people within a business. So very quick look at the different screen layouts. Here's the very simple role where we've kind of turned everything off except for the inbound calls on the left-hand side. That's this section here, and then the directory, which is this section here, and then we've got some call handling and call control palettes here as well. But you can resize that window to be as small as you wish. And this is exactly what was deployed for an NHS health customer in the UK, and the requirement was that they needed to be able to supply doctors' surgeries with a centralized call management solution, call handling solution that was easy to use, fully keyboard controlled, but gave them access to a directory that could potentially be across the whole, as it was at the time, primary care trust. It's changed since, and they would also have access to their local directory and the staff in their local building or campus as well. And so that allowed them to be able to do that using a simple to install and simple to use client. Plus it was centrally managed, so operators and queues could be turned on, turned off, and rerouted as needed. So this is a very simple, easy to use product. As I mentioned, it is fully keyboard controlled, and we can supply a keyboard with the solution that is perfect for temporary staff, for example. So it simply has answer, disconnect, transfer, call, recall, and so on printed on the keys to allow very immediate uptake of taking on the role with the minimum of training. Here's that standard role again. We looked at that earlier, so that's turned on some of the other tabs, slightly different color scheme. And here's the power user. Now, you might not think it looks too much different, but when you start to use dual screen solutions, and in many operator centers, dual screens are very much used, for example, with much more space being needed for the directory part of the solution. That's this section here. They might drag this panel out to the second screen, and perhaps that second screen is even touchscreen, so they can double tap a contact within the directory to perform a transfer, for example. We've seen various uses of touch screens. Some of them where very high call volume is in place are not such a good idea. We recommend keyboard control because trying to use a touch screen for thousands of calls a day is not physically very good for you. You should use a keyboard for repetitive strain reasons, but it is still a potential option for the product. And you can resize everything on screen so that if you do need to use touchscreen, everything is more accessible for using either a pointer or a finger control. Finally, we talked about agents, and in fact, the legacy, if you like, of Arc is that in fact it is a call center solution underneath. So it has a skills-based routing engine, it has wrap-up and such like related call center type features and functionality, and has a very simple call center client. It's intended to be simple so that it doesn't take up too much space on the screen. You have a little wallboard built into the solution. You've got a messaging from the supervisor option. You've got the ability to pop web pages, and of course you've got the ability to take calls. And all of our other features, such as the recording, are fully integrated into that. This is highly scalable, so from one Arc server we can support up to 800 of these. Now, we're not claiming to be a high-end call center solution here. What we're actually offering is that because the Arc solution has this capability of handling large directories and large call manager connectivity, this is the great solution for providing disparate, kind of smaller help desk groups or pools across an organization where you might need something like multi-tenant or multi-site support as well. So it's a great business model for partners to be able to deploy multiple systems using one centralized server to keep costs down and scalability and efficiency up, and it's all centrally managed. And I'll explain what we mean by multi-tenant and multi-site in a second, and I'll try to illustrate that to you. But this is the call center client, very easy to use, fully keyboard controlled again, or mouse or touchscreen if you wish. So just quick look at presence. I'm not going to spell this out. I think we've covered what presence is and why it's important, and I think we probably made it clear that we can take data feeds from pretty much anywhere you need and feed that into the console. So if you pull a directory from Call Manager, then you can be pretty sure that we'll be able to link into a presence engine on screen as well to be able to make sure that every one of those people in that directory has a live presence against them. And by the way, the scalability of our product is not just about the large directory that it can contain, manage and index. We also have a very powerful presence caching engine that's able to manage and provide live presence status for everybody in that list on demand. So if you have 50, 100 or more operators all doing a search for different people across the organization, that engine will find, subscribe to, and bring the presence for Link or Jabber or whatever it happens to be, and deliver that to the console search match so that they can deliver the call effectively to the right person. Quick animated slide. I'm not really a fan of animated slides, but so we'll just step through it very quickly. But this is an attempt to describe the way in which our solution can support various permutations of different call manager clusters. So we can have up to 10 CTI connections or 5 call manager clusters. We can support different dial plans. So this is important because it means that you don't have to redesign the dial plan of your solution for your customer if they happen to have overlapping dial plans. So if you're looking to work with a customer who is acquiring businesses, for example, and they buy another business with a call manager with a number range that overlaps, that's not a problem. They can simply adopt that into the solution, and Arc will handle that using its MAC address management system. We also have this capability for multiple tenant as well. So from one Arc server, support multiple disparate, completely disparate tenants from that server. So again, from a partner perspective, this is a great way of offering good value, and in terms of being a good business model, you can deploy an Arc server and support multiple business requirements from that one server. So that might be on Cisco HCS, for example, where you are centrally managing the resources and offering operators and agents and reporting at the endpoints, and those customers will have no knowledge of the other's existence. So operators in tenant 5 will be able to see their calls and their directory and their reporting, but only for that tenant and not for the others across the business. So very powerful, highly flexible, and again, a great business model because it offers economies of scale for partners wanting to deploy in all kinds of configurations, actually. There are some caveats in terms of Cisco-defined limitations, but we've worked those into our documentation, and so they're clearly documented and I would say clearly understood. The system has a full supervisor moves and changes solution with a large number of reports, and the system also allows you to set up queues, tear down queues, put queues into emergency service or into call forward mode. You can move agents or operators around from queues as you'd expect with a typical contact center solution, really. So it's a kind of an on-the-fly deployment tool, if you like. And then associated with that, there are management and reporting tools as well, such as wallboards and live queue template reporting, as we can see. And these are animated reports that show calls and call traffic for different queues, agent behavior, and so on and so forth. It's worth noting that there are APIs into our solution. There's a workforce management API, which is an XML output. There's also call control APIs for the agents and the operators. So integration is possible at the desktop level as well. Also within Q we have the capability for supporting something called Voice Connect, which is not an IVR solution, more of an AVR solution, if you like. Provides a level of simple menu-based in-queue comfort messaging and selection. So there's as I say, a simple DTMF-based menu choice option where we can transfer to voicemail, to different queues, to different agents, and so on. And again, this can be per customer or per tenant, just referring back to that scalable model we talked about earlier. Quick information about deployment. Now this also applies to Cisco Unified Attendant Console Advanced as well, in that they share the same code base. We can deploy on Cisco UCS, and this is pretty important because of course this is one of the standard models now for Cisco deployment. And so it is possible for you to do that. We have some OVA templates that can help you build the images for these products, and everything is really strictly within the guidelines of the Cisco virtual server sizing guidelines, with the really catchy link at the bottom of the screen there as well. So you can choose that and look at the guidelines for both of the Cisco Advanced product or the Arc Pro product. Here's a really busy slide. It's designed as a kind of a catch-all really for any of those does it support ... questions that you might have. I hope that we cover the correct the up-to-date versions and everything that you're asking for. We strive to make sure that everything is up to date, and we go through Cisco IVT on a regular basis for the Arc product, and of course the Cisco Unified Attendant Console product is also updated for each major version of Call Manager, as is Arc. So hopefully that covers those requirements. We do support virtualization both at the server and the desktop level as well. Obligatory customer-based slide. I don't think you should be in any doubt about the capability of the product. I think we've got some fantastic customer case studies out there. Many of these are UK-based because this is, I guess, a kind of a UK primarily anyway webinar, but we have a large number of customers globally using the product in all kinds of different verticals. So I think if there was a question as to which vertical Arc fits best in, well, there isn't one, and that applies to the Cisco products as well. Attendant consoles are relevant to almost any types of business, and in most cases more than one type of call reception solution can be deployed in any one business. So how do you decide which products to sell and which products fit best? Well, we've tried to do a little bit of a comparison, and we've tried to look at where Arc Pro has been valued by partners, and I think some of this may be obvious. We've talked about flexibility, we've talked about scalability. The add-ons, I would say, are probably the most significant beyond that, the ability to plug in different capabilities such as the reporting. There is reporting within Cisco Unified Attendant Console Advanced product. There are 8 standard reports into the product. Where they do not fit the bill, then clearly the ARC product with its 280 something reports is more likely to fit the bill, and plus the ARC product does have, as I say, those APIs that would allow you to pull data and then do custom work too, custom reporting. But I think it's the customization around the customer's business model that is probably the key thing, and that relates to all of the above really, the add-ons, the scalability, the flexibility. And partners who have worked with us, and I know some of them on the call today, have won some good value business globally using this capability. I think the other takeaway that isn't on this slide relates to margin. Now, clearly the Cisco Unified Attendant Console products are fantastic Cisco products, and we will be the first to support them because we develop them, and so we have an interest in making sure they are successful. The purpose of sessions like this today are to help people understand where the ARC Pro product is best fit and where partners can get greater value, and one of the key pieces of greater value is margin, and the margin that you get from selling the ARC Pro product is going to be greater for any one deal than it will be for the Cisco Unified Attendant Console products. So that's really the balancing factor, and that is that all of these products have a place. You should try to look at selling all of them in any one opportunity, and you may sell more than one of them. It's quite possible that you'd have a centralized solution using QAC Advanced or ARC at the head office, and the Cisco Unified Attendant Console standard at the child sites for the typical desktop users. HCS obviously is important to us, and HCS, whilst it's hosted, you actually are talking about a simpler deployment there. We have done some work with more sophisticated multi-tenant, multi-cluster solutions, but actually Cisco HCS typically is a more replicatable kind of cookie cutter type deployment, and that's where ARC comes in really well, because it's got this install wizard. We can use that to deploy an image very quickly, and you can build your VM and distribute it out to a new customer on HCS very quickly. And of course we talked about multi-cluster and dial plan, and in the instance where you do have the need to provide a managed, more scalable solution, then ARC will really come into its own there as well. Quick animation slide build. Again, I'm not a fan of animation, so we'll just skip through this. There is a point to this, though. Clearly, you can see that the centralized server with the capabilities that the ARC Pro server has there. On the left-hand side, you can see the plugins. So we have a call recording solution as well as a workforce management solution that can feed from ARC. We have some pretty cool little features such as click to dial, which allow you to integrate any application at the desktop using the mouse, and a plugin which allows your operator to transfer calls or indeed answer calls from different applications very easily. And of course you've got call recording. On the right hand side you have the client types we talked about before. The point though about this slide is that if we compare it to Cisco Unified Attendant Console Advanced, you'll see that in fact ARC compared to the Cisco Advanced product is very much the all-you-can-eat equivalent, if you like, compared to the Cisco Unified Advanced product. Again, good reason for that. It's about commoditized and easy to distribute software, but that means that we have an opportunity there to look at all products in the portfolio and sell the right one in the right place. So the next few slides step through some side-by-side capabilities of the two products, with ARC on the left and the advanced product on the right. I don't intend to step through each one of these things because some of them are quite technical and some of them also we've covered already. But I think if you look at the comparison just by skimming it, you can see that there are some key features that are present in ARC that will allow you to give that flexibility to your customers. So from a scalability point of view, there are various aspects. If we look at user experience, I think we covered that to some extent, a good degree of flexibility there. And so a quick screenshot there as well of ARC on the left with the advanced product on the right. In terms of general features, there are some telephony features and some call distribution features that are different, as well as reporting and directory capabilities, which again we touched upon all the way through. So some of these are quite important, and when you're at RFP or tender response level, they will become increasingly important. And I think that when we look at some of the materials that are available to you, we will be able to give you a very quick checklist comparison that will allow you to decide which product is a best fit, and I will show you that in a couple of slides' time. Add-ons, well again, ARC is all about the add-ons, and so there are significantly more, as you would expect, within the ARC product for the good reasons we described. And deployment, finally, this is quite important. Deployment and also the following slide, which deals with support. Deployment of the ARC product involves a wizard and is very quick and easy, as is the Cisco Unified Attendant Console product, but it's browser-based. It's a slightly different installation process, but it's straightforward enough. And in terms of support, the ARC Pro product is of course supported by our pre-sales, our design and our post-sales people within the Enghouse and the ARC business, and we have offices all over the world, and so please don't think of us just as a Reading UK-based business. We have literally teams all over the globe, and support tickets are logged via your good selves, via our partners. Depending on what level of certification you've gone through, you may be providing some, a little or all of the support capability for ARC, and of course that's backed up with tier 2 and 3 support via our teams in Enghouse and ARC, and also our engineering teams. Of course, the Cisco Unified Console product is also a channel partner supported product in the first instance, but in terms of the escalation path, we'll go via Cisco TAC first, and Cisco TAC then would escalate via tier 3 if they needed to the ARC business. So the benefit there is that, of course, that Cisco TAC support the Cisco Unified Attendant Console product, but we have, depending on the sophistication of the solution, of course, you may be looking at the ARC solution, which we would support in a custom way. Quick look at the ARC roadmap. The 2016 schedule looks pretty busy. We're doing some heavy-duty work with Cisco on a big project which involves security, and the benefit of that will be that we're going to add some pretty credible security features to the product, some of which are to be confirmed because we're not quite sure how the project is going to pan out, and we're not allowed to talk about it in terms of specifics, so we are unable to define some of those features, but we do know that we're going to be adding better support for user authentication control in Windows, support for Cisco single sign-on, and improved capability for some other features in terms of synchronization and device resolution. We'll also be doing some cosmetic work. We're going to be adding a significant new feature to the console, which is console call history, which shows calls inbound and outbound, and with the ability for you to recall callers that you missed in a queue, or go back to calls that you made calls out to. So great for telemarketeers or for customer service based organizations. Excuse me. And of course we're going to be updating our supportability. Later on, we're going to be working on moving increasing amounts of the ARC Pro solution to being web-based, and we'll be looking at providing some kind of hybrid of attendant console solutions there. That will take a number of forms, and of course those of you looking at things like Cisco Spark will also be thinking, well, that might involve looking at that platform too, and you'd be quite right, it does indeed. So there'll be a change in the architecture. We're providing a web services middleware to the server, and we'll be working on delivering some plans for that soon. There are some further updates to security. We'll be integrating one of our third-party products, the Antec product, We'll be looking at some of the great application server features that the Antec APAS server solution provides in Germany, and that will add further value to ARC. And of course, supportability will be added too. Quick look at supportability materials because we're running out of time. As I say, the ARC product is extremely well documented, and so there is available to you via our partner portal at enghousinteractive.co.uk/partner portal. Is that right? Yes, I'm just checking with my esteemed colleagues here. I think I got it right. I guessed it actually. I think it is. But go to enghousinteractive.co.uk and you can log in to our partner portal and get a whole library of material as listed on the slide there, some of which includes this. So we talk about supportability. This is the matrix that defines what core manager versions we support and any caveats, and we maintain that with every release. This is the side-by-side analysis that we talked about with the which product fits what. And we use a simple color coding process where red is not supported, amber is partially supported, and green is fully supported. And this is a multi-row spreadsheet that combines a number of solutions, both for our call center solutions and also, most relevantly here, our attendant console solutions too. We also have some fantastic training material which involves a presentation, a hosted presentation I should say, as well as a printed booklet that talks about how to sell these solutions, and that by the way means all three of the products we've talked about today and all of the intricacies of the process of doing so. As I say, product very well documented, and this applies also to the Cisco product as well, as you'd expect. Cisco material available on the Cisco website, ARC material available via the ARC partner portal, including a design guide, which for the technical people amongst you is a 100-and-something page document that talks about every protocol, connectivity, database structure, and so on that you could wish for. So just bring it to a close, the real takeaway, if I may, is that there's significant value in call reception solutions on Cisco Unified Communications Manager. You can make good margin, you can satisfy a good degree of customer requirements, you can find a product that will fit around the customer, and you can use us as your trusted advisor to help you do that. We do people that have been doing this for a long time. We can come in and help you uncover opportunities. We can help you see them to a close. We can help you make more margin, and you get happier customers at the end of it. And hopefully you get some customer case studies as well and win some Amazon vouchers as well if possible. So for more information, do contact any of your channel managers, some of whom I think are on this call, or contact us directly, and we'd be more than happy to assist. And with that, I'm going to open it up to questions and answers, or questions I should say.
Thank you very much, Rupert. Yep, so we can go to some questions before we close. The first one, are the Cisco 78 and 88XX phones supported as they were not on the last slide?
Let me go check the slide, but we should be fine with the 78 range of phones. In terms of on-screen capability, that's where things become more intricate, but yeah, we test almost every phone that we get, and even some of the prototypes that Cisco don't release. So I will go back and check that slide and make sure it's updated in the final version of this slide deck.
Great, thanks. The next one, for the case study, what do I need to do to get the paid vouchers? So I guess that's me to answer. So it's very, very simple. You just make initial contact with the customer that you think would be a great case study, get their confirmation, and all it is filling out a form with the information online, and that's submitted, and then we'll make contact and keep you involved. And really, it will be just getting it written up and confirmed, and once that's ready for publication, we'll send you over the Amazon voucher. Just like that. And the next question is regarding the presentation. So that will be sent out. And then the next one is, did I miss the price of the Pro console?
Can you hear me? Yep, okay. You probably didn't miss it. No, I think we probably didn't have a pricing slide that went into that detail. So the pricing structure, firstly, is there's a server price, which is typically we're talking about 2,500. It depends, of course, whether you're in euros or pounds, but typically 2,500 for the server price, and then a similar price for the backup server. And then we're talking about a range of prices for each of the client types, going from 1,100 up to 2,750 for the full-blown. The typical client is 2,400, and that includes a keyboard that we mentioned a couple of times, and that's for the standard client that, if you like, has been sold most commonly, if you like, for the last few years. Now the pricing is available on the partner portals, so I didn't want this to be a pricing webinar. We can do one of those if people would like that, if that would be helpful. But the partner portal does cover the pricing, and also our channel managers can go through that with you if you do have specific requirements.
And the next one, I heard that you have another product from Antec that includes the attendant console product. Why have you not talked about this today?
There's always one, isn't there? It's always one awkward question. So it's not an awkward question at all, actually. The reason was that I believe the audience here to be primarily UK-based, but you're quite right. Antec, in fact, is very much relevant. Antec is an application server that is part of a company we acquired 2 or 3 years ago. I think I did actually mention an integration with Antec very briefly in a couple of slides on the roadmap. Antec offers a number of really cool phone applications that support the Cisco phone screens, including things like broadcast, lockout, boss secretary or manager assistant functionality, as well as an attendant console and a call center product, and also a number of web-based tools. I guess the honest reason is that for the session today I wanted to keep things reasonably straightforward, and I wanted to stay with the Cisco and the ARC branded products. We do have some material on Antec. Typically it's been sold within the Germany region only. And I'd be interested to know whether or not this question came up because you have an interest in selling the product in the UK. I know there are a couple of partners, one of whom is on this call, who have looked at the product, and we'd be keen to take those conversations further as needs be. But as I say, Antec is another attendant console solution, but it really is more of an application service solution. That would be our focus, and so it's not really part of our leading attendant consoles product strategy, but it is very much part of our Cisco phone applications and also Jabber applications strategy, and in the future Spark application strategy moving forwards. Hopefully that long answer answers a short question.
Brilliant. We have time for one more. Are you developing against Cisco Spark?
Yeah, so that very much is on the table. Cisco Spark is, of course, the part of the family of managed, hosted, cloud-based solutions that Cisco is working on developing and released in Cisco Live earlier this year in Berlin. Yeah, Cisco Spark is an interesting opportunity for application developers. At the moment, in terms of what application developers can bring to the table, the connectivity, the APIs that are available are not as rich as they have been on the legacy platforms, the TAPI connectivities, for example. But yes, the short answer to your question is yes, we are looking at what we can deliver on Spark, and that includes not just using the ARC product, but also looking at Antec, as I think I mentioned earlier. So we will be looking at what components, what modules of functionality we can add to that environment for users to consume.
Brilliant, and we're on time there, early. Thank you everyone for attending today. I hope you found the presentation useful. Thanks Rupert for that really informative PowerPoint. It was really informative for me as well. as I said earlier, the presentation will get sent out to everyone, and anyone that was missing as well will get this presentation as well next week, early next week. And my contacts will also be on there. So any questions about the case study, please just reply back and I'll be able to get back any more information about that. Brilliant. Thank you. Everyone have a very good day.